From VentureX Studios, it's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
Okay, as I'm knocking Baby Yoda and my unicorn and everybody over, I had my microphone caught up on the equipment today. There we go. Are we better, Brett? Am I good now? Okay. Well, happy Monday. Welcome to JP, Kathy, and the crew. It's a wee bit cold out this morning. It feels a little bit more like Christmas time, which this morning we're going to be talking with our medical expert, Dr. Norm Clothier. This will be our last, JP and I are taking a couple of weeks off, so this will be our last show with Dr. Clothier before the new year, and he's going to be talking about Christmas safety, holiday safety, New Year's Eve safety, which is all just so vitally important because medical statistics are not always in our favor, and emergency room statistics are not always in our favor over the holiday season. So he's got great information to keep you safe. Right before I bring Dr. Clothier on, though, I do want to ask, because I know Dr. Clothier is a praying man as well, if the crew will continue to pray for, and we've seen so many of you post such gracious things about the folks who are just devastated by the storm and the people we lost with the storms in Kentucky this just a few days ago. So please, if you'll pray for the storm victims. I know lots of folks from Texas are headed up to the Kentucky area and the areas impacted by the storm. God bless those people. The devastation is really almost too much to watch on the news. It's just that hard. So just if you'll pray for them. And I know Dr. Clothier joins us in praying for them, and he joins us live today to talk Christmas holiday and New Year's Eve safety. So Dr. Clothier, take it away.
Very good. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, we have a couple of potential risk issues coming up. So I think it is very appropriate to talk about those, Christmas and New Year's, as you mentioned. And I think it's interesting how many people plan to indulge on things and then hope that they make it by to New Year's resolutions and kind of start fixing them. It's sort of an odd time of year.
Oh, the irony.
And I would, it is, and I'd suggest that while Thanksgiving is also a very indulgent time of year, I think I worry more about people kind of around Christmas and New Year's. And that's partly because the highest rate of cardiac acute disease, like heart attack and blocked arteries leading to emergent stents or bypass surgeries, is actually Christmas Day. And I think that's always been an odd irony.
Wow.
Yeah, and it seems that people get into situations they shouldn't. They travel and they forget their medicine, or they overindulge, or they travel up to a higher altitude and get sick from the increased oxygen need, and their heart can't quite keep up with them, or it's a lot of family stress and all kinds of things like that. So I thought we'd go through a few basic safety plans and hopefully make people a little safer this year compared to prior years. Of course, if you've been listening the last 6 years, hopefully you're super safe already and could interrupt and give this talk anytime. But I think it's very valuable. First, if you're going to travel, make sure you have access to your medicine. Take your medicine. That's number one, with you on the trip. I think people forget their medicine at home, and then it's always awkward about, pharmacy and doctor's offices are kind of stressed around the holidays because everybody wants everything by the end of the year. And it's just a challenging time. It's much better if you have your bottle of medicine and take it with you.
Yes.
So the second thing, if you're going to be flying, keep enough medicine in your carry-on bag to get by until your lost luggage can catch up to you. And if at all possible, if you can take all your medicine and carry on. Now, I realize some people are on a lot of medicine, but it's always best to have it with you and not risk having it lost in luggage, for 2 days, 3 days, whatever can happen. We all hear those stories of challenges with lost luggage. You don't want to be one of those involved in, having it lost and losing your chance to treat your medical condition.
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting. You mentioned this years ago on the show, and I used to always just carry one pill bottle that had a couple, it had my allergy medicine, my blood pressure medicine, maybe like an ibuprofen. But then you said, watch out, carry it in the original bottle it came in because you don't want to get in
Absolutely.
trouble for that. So you've taught me a lot, but I tell you what, I will have my 2 different blood pressure medicines in their exact bottles with the right labels and all that kind of stuff.
Yes,
I just carry it in my purse. Better safe than sorry.
absolutely. Yes, definitely. And that's a really good way to do it. But absolutely, keep it in its original bottle whenever possible. And that's because if you have, let's say in the worst case scenario, you have a medical emergency on board an airplane and somebody's trying to decide, boy, do we land, short of our destination to get medical help, or do we, just put oxygen on somebody and hope they get by? Maybe they'll live till we get, to where we're going. But it's always helpful to any medical crew, and especially, in an emergency deal, if they know what you're on. So if you have a pill bottle with just pills in it, most people aren't going to recognize pills for what they are without having to search through, look them all up. And, it's just, it's trouble. But then the other thing is, if you're flying to a place, especially with customs agents, if you have a mixed bottle of a bunch of pills, you just look suspicious. And, when you're under scrutiny, you want to be able to defend easily what you're on. So if the prescription is in a bottle with your name, one type of medicine, the name of the medicine, and the prescribing doctor, you're legal. That's going to be fine.
True. That's a good point.
If there's a reason to raise suspicion, then that's probably the wrong time to start raising suspicion, especially if you're spending Christmas like in North Korea. So you want to really be careful about those things and smart about them. And similarly, if you're on insulin or an injectable medicine with syringes, if you have the actual prescription stating that that's a doctor's order, you're probably going to be fine. And of course, if you declare it ahead of time, point out to them, oh, I have, syringes for my insulin. And going through like a scanner at the airport, it makes a huge difference if they know what you're on and taking what they're going to see, rather than if you're playing defense after it goes through the scanner.
Good point.
So those are just practical things. And, obviously, I think that all makes sense anyway. I don't think anybody really should mix a bunch of bottles of medicine into one, or, have anything like somebody else's bottle with them with the medicine, a different medicine name on it or something crazy. Because, we all can get mixed up. And sometimes you sort of forget, boy, was that white pill that's a little bigger than the other white pills? That's the one I take in the morning or in the evening or whatever.
Very good point.
And of course, in the realm of generic medicines, sometimes you get one that looks different, a different month than a prior month. So if you keep it in the bottle, you'll know what you're taking. And that's just logical. And, I get questions a lot about, which of my pills is that little blue one, or that little yellowish one, or that kind of off peach, pinkish, almost oval, but kind of round, somewhat irregularly shaped one. And I'll think, well, I don't know. I don't see a lot of the medicine that I prescribe, for instance. So it's just smart for all of us to keep up with what we take, and to make sure you can get through your travels with that. So take enough, if possible, for your whole trip. If you have, like a 5-day trip, you can take 5 days of medicine probably in your carry-on, no problem. But certainly, if you're going to a destination, and you're going to be there like past the time of a refill, you may have to work that all out beforehand with your pharmacist, because some insurances are really sticklers about filling the medicine early, and sometimes the pharmacist can get permission for you to have some extra pills so you don't run out during the middle of a trip. And, just plan. And then the only other thing I'd say about medicine is I hear a lot of people tell me, oh, I was down in, Houston for the holidays and I left all my medicine there and I need early refills. Well, there again, it's very hard to get an insurance to do an early refill. As merciful as it seems, if you're on lisinopril for blood pressure, it may be fine with me, fine with you, fine with the pharmacist, fine with your neighbors, whatever. But it may not be fine with the insurance. And of course, you may then, be allowed, you always are allowed to pay cash for a medicine, but you may not want to if
Oh,
you're
and
on the
it's
expensive medicine.
ridiculous. Oh, yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've tried to fill something early and I didn't realize I was filling it early, and they're like, "Okay, that'll be $72.95," and I'm like, "I thought it was $1.21," and they're like, "In 2
Yeah,
days."
that's because you look
They don't
like a
mess around.
criminal
Oh,
when you
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Right.
Me and my
Or,
blood
excuse
pressure
me, that's
hit.
because it's early. That's why I meant to say it's just because they like their, 27 or 30 days or 87 or 90 days or whatever. And they don't bend that. That's a computer click for them. That's not a human decision.
Right,
So
right.
they don't say, oh, she's always been honest and,
Yeah, they
she
don't
was out there,
care.
we'll just do this. No,
It's
they
what
really
comes
don't.
up on the
It's just
computer.
that,
Yep.
yeah, it's the nature of the system. So what I would suggest, if you're down at a, cousin's house in Houston, don't put medicine in their medicine cabinet and leave it. Keep it in your suitcase. You could actually pull out medicine each day and take it and then put it back where it goes, and then you won't leave it behind.
Right.
And I think, as crazy as it sounds to you mention that, I'm shocked how many people leave their medicine out of town. There must be a ton of medicine at every cousin, aunt, and grandparents' house in the world because people just leave it behind. But it's because they pull it out away from their stuff and have it like in the bathroom, and then they pack up and just walk away without it. And that's different than walking away without your shampoo bottle.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You need to keep possession of your medicine. So then, a few other practical factors. New Year's, obviously, there's a tendency to overindulge in alcohol and calories and all kinds of challenging things. And I'd really encourage, have a plan to go into the holiday without risking your life. And obviously, don't drink and drive. I would really suggest most people be healthier, drinking less than what they probably plan to drink, and make it a more enjoyable occasion rather than one where you'll have a hangover and forget what happened. Run into other troubles. It's always a faux pas to wake up in jail, and you just
That's not
really
a good
don't
thing.
want it. No, it's really not. I can't think of a good circumstance for that. I'm sure somebody has one, but I can't think of a good one. So really be careful, and that's largely a health issue too. You really don't need to overstress your liver. And I'll tell you, if you overdrink alcohol, you can get pancreatitis, which is terrible inflammation of the pancreas that may not be reversible. You may not recover. And that's a horrible condition I wouldn't ever want anybody to have. So, I think you just have to be smart and practical about those things. And then that includes overindulgence in food. You really just don't have to stuff yourself for the holidays to make them enjoyable. So I'd encourage, as with Thanksgiving, go into Christmas and New Year's with a plan, and plan to not overdo. And of course, I always mention exercise. Keep up your exercise routine. Just because you're on a Christmas break, let's say if you're a teacher or, your company gives you a week or two off at the holidays, that doesn't mean you suddenly don't have health to take care of. And so, make sure you keep up an exercise regimen. There's no reason in the world to get out of shape during the holidays because you had 2 weeks of time where you're not driving to work. So, just keep up that routine. And then I think we need to mention a few things about safety around children and other individuals. There's, a tendency to have candles around Christmas, and candles are, by definition, if they're a real candle and it's lit, then that is fire. And you really need to be careful. Pets around candles, not really a very good idea. And certainly children around candles, make sure you don't leave a candle burning when you leave the room, like overnight or, in some precarious situation. Thankfully, I don't think anybody still uses lit candles on a dried up Christmas tree instead of lights.
Yeah.
But,
that was a great idea back in the day. That was a thing.
Oh, man.
That was a thing.
I don't know how anybody survived that. It really is. It's really fascinating to think about the things that humankind has been able to, those things we've been able to live through that make no sense that you could ever survive them. But, a dry tree with a flame is obviously trouble. Also, if you have lights, they can short out, or you can, let's say you have a puppy that you get for Christmas and the puppy decides to chew that electrical cord and exposed wire, and you have a toddler that wants to investigate that. Those things are all risky. So what you need to do is just do a safety analysis of your own spot, and just walk around, look at things that could be trouble. If you look over toward a plug halfway out of the wall on your Christmas tree at 18 inches of height, think about who could touch that and have trouble,
Right.
and fix that. And if it means move the plug to a higher plug, or get an extension cord and duct tape it to where nobody could half unplug it and touch it or something. And certainly chewed cords, tripping on cords, a big deal. When you have your elderly parents, grandparents, or elderly aunt and uncle over, they may trip over wires or edges of carpet. And those things are real world issues that happen, and you don't want to have somebody come to your house, get injured. And I haven't even mentioned COVID and other infection risks, flu, colds, strep throat, all those things. You want to make sure you're well going into the holiday. Be respectful of somebody else's health. If you have somebody who's in a precarious health position with chemotherapy, or just being elderly, or having recently just recovered from a pneumonia, or recently in the hospital, is a higher risk for other infection. All those things, you just need to be smart, careful, respectful of the person, and don't make somebody so sick that they're going to, potentially have a hospitalization or a death after your holiday time. So, all those things are risky. And then with children, again, you have ornaments, you have small pieces. I would really encourage, if you're opening gifts, you really need to be very active about getting trash up off the floor. If you have, if you're opening a toy with small plastic parts, you don't want your little baby to crawl over and choke on that.
Right.
You don't want them to get wrapping paper in their mouth. You don't want to have plastic wrapped from a gift. Let's say somebody gets a shirt or something and they unwrap the plastic and pieces on the floor. You just have to be very diligent about picking up trash and small parts. And, I've seen everything in my own home, from small plastic wrapping paper to ribbon strands to, pocket knives to open things, to screwdrivers to put batteries in, and batteries on the floor. You have to be super, super careful. And, it doesn't hurt you to take an extra minute to pick up trash, pick up small parts and pieces. And that leads to another thought, is that when you get gifts for children, now, everybody may have already shopped, because everybody heard to shop early.
Everybody
this
got
year,
paranoid.
Yeah, and I don't know anybody that puts off getting presents to the last minute. I've never heard such a thing.
Yes. What is this you speak of, Dr. Clothier?
Yeah, I just run in circles there really well ahead of things. But if you haven't got the gifts yet, there is a reason that gifts have an age recommendation on them. And I think it's interesting that many people I know think that their children are just super well developed in terms of maturity, physical dexterity, language skills, carefulness, respect for others, treating an item very carefully and not ever poking something in an eye. And, their children are super amazing and far ahead of the developmental curve. But the reason you'll find, like on a gift, it'll say ages 5 and up or whatever, is that's a safety issue. That's a development issue in terms of the brain development. And, there are experts that sort through what those age limits should be. And I would really encourage you, pay attention to those and be smart. Don't get your 3-year-old the teensy tiny piece Lego set with 17,000 pieces that they'll need to put together. Even if they are really super sharp mentally, they're not going to be able to perform the dexterity and resist the urge to put little pieces in their mouth and choke on them and things like that. So some of that is safety concerning parts, like that example. Some of that's safety concerning, like a falling risk or a tip over risk of a large toy that may, fall on them or fall with them on it. And so there are a lot of reasons things have a developmental age listed, and just really be smart about that and pay attention to it, and allow your child to enjoy a toy developmentally appropriate for them and
Absolutely.
safe.
Absolutely.
And so also with, most of the time there's candy and, there are things that, again, young children sometimes can choke on or just don't have the capability, like, say, a jelly bean. Jelly beans can get stuck in the throat. Some young children just don't have the teeth to chew a jelly bean, for instance, or something sticky and chewy like that. Or they don't have the patience and they'll swallow it too early and gag on it. And, you just think before you give and before you allow a child to get into a potentially difficult circumstance.
Yeah, and that's all
Any
just great
questions that come
information.
through there?
No, that's all. I mean, just again,
Okay.
it's kind of common sense stuff, Dr. Clothier,
It is.
but it's not commonly practiced for some reason at the holidays. Kind of like when you do your segment on safety with kids and pool safety and things of that nature. Things that things that you're like, well, of course. But then when you get a group of adults together, sometimes collectively our IQ goes down a bit.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. And I think, to me, the real key, none of this is brand new information nobody'd ever think of. But I do think we need reminders. And especially, if you've been an empty nester for, say, 5 years, 10 years, and you suddenly have company coming in with small children, little toddlers or curious 4-year-olds who like to climb or things like that, your house is probably no longer childproof in terms of the safety issues. Kitchen cabinets with chemicals underneath or
go back and
bathroom
check
cabinets with cleaners. Yeah, and you just have to be smart about all that, and you need to be ahead of it. Don't wait until they're carrying the bathroom, the toilet cleaner squirt bottle around the house before you realize, oh yeah, I should.
There's a toddler here, kind of
pick that
thing.
up.
And real quick,
We all forget how much kids can get into.
We do. And I've got a really quick question. There was a holdover question from last week. Ann Guzman wants to know, do you recommend the smartphone EKG? Since we were talking about ways to, follow your heart rate and your oxygen. Are you a proponent of those? Or what do you think on that?
Yeah, my brief answer is that so far it's a very fair way to just get an idea if you're having some symptoms and you check it. Like, for instance, if you feel your heart racing and you have that capability, you can check it and see, kind of get a feeling for what it says. What I find the obvious limitation is it won't tell you the why as to what reading you get. So if you find you're in atrial fibrillation and you can call your doctor and get in more quickly because that information gets started on something day one to reduce the risk from that and to manage that, then it's very helpful. But, as with all devices like that, it doesn't replace medical opinion and the fact that every person is different. So I think it's helpful as a rough guideline, but I wouldn't use it. If you're having chest pain and you run that and it says that it's normal, I wouldn't say, oh, ignore the chest pain and go about your business and, pretend it's not happening. I think you still need to know the reason behind symptoms.
Gotcha. Well, great information.
As a basic guidelines, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So something to
Very
use,
good.
but then obviously if you're alerted, 911 emergency room, kind of a thing is where you go.
Right. And the other thing, if you're about to have a heart attack, no EKG can tell you you're about to have a heart attack.
That's a good point.
It only can tell you what's going on at that moment. And so if you're having crushing chest pain, feel like an elephant on your chest, you run that and it says normal, it may be that you're in process of, maybe you'll have a heart attack in a half hour. Yeah. And so you got to pay attention to the reality. Don't let the smartphone tell you, oh, everything's fine, don't worry.
Gotcha. Well, excellent information. Merry Christmas to you and your beautiful family. Many blessings to y'all, and then blessings for a wonderful 2022, and then we'll see you soon.
All right. Very good.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Clothier.
Take care. Goodbye.
Have a great one. All right. Good information to follow. Just again, certain things, just kind of, common sense and go with your gut. Always a better safe than sorry kind of a thing. And if you've got really, really little ones around, always, if you're wanting to give the mom or dad a break, then make sure an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent or an older niece or nephew or somebody responsible has an eye on that child, especially if they're in a new environment or an environment that they're only at, 1, 2, or 3 times a year because of holidays. So, anyways, just great information to follow, and we look forward to seeing Dr. Clothier in the new year. Susan Shuler is with us, and she is live audio today. So we've got a couple of pictures from the last time she was in studio with myself and with Miss Texas. So Susan Shuler, you are live at the 100th Miss America competition. So how cool is that?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, it is off and running. We just did our first preliminary last night. It was great. Mallory had talent. She was awesome. She didn't win the preliminary, but that's okay. She scored very high, I'm sure. Miss New York won talent. So that was first night. Our day started out, I'll have to tell you that funny little incident on the way to Miss America. We got to the airport at 5 a.m. and we were there until it went off at 8. Supposed to have gone off at 7 o'clock. We got delayed for a news button.
Hold on just 1 second. Susan, we're having Susan, we're having some trouble with your audio. Is there a reason we're hearing her so slowly, Brett?
Button, and we had to had to wait for an hour.
It may be
our connecting flight took off. We had an hour layover. Wasn't good because if you do the math, we were going to be pushing it. We land. Yes.
Okay, I think.
No.
I wonder if we can.
Know.
I wonder if we can have her hop
Can you hear
off.
Me better?
I think we're gonna.
Should we? Hear me?
Because she's having trouble hearing me. Can you send her a message and tell her to hop off and hop back on?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so she's gonna hop back off and hop back on. Hopefully, we'll have her. If not, she's gonna also be on Wednesday and then Friday as well. Which Friday will be the recap because the competition is Thursday night. So basically, what she was saying, because I'd already texted with her because I'm just curious as all get out and just living vicariously through her. They had one of the preliminary nights last night, and Mallory looked great. Really good. Did very well, and of course Mallory is our Miss Texas, and so we're super excited to have her competing and just very proud of her. It sounds like Miss New York won the preliminary talent. I think. Do we have a better connection, Susan?
Okay. Is that better?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Excellent.
Yay.
Actually, it may not be.
So our excellent adventure started yesterday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. The plane was... Is that better?
Yes.
Or am I better?
Yes.
Hello? Okay. So I'll just cut to the chase. We got here at we had to land in Washington D.C. and connect to our flight. We had to run from Terminal 38 to Terminal 58. Susan is not a runner, but we did make the connection, and we are here in now in Connecticut. So day one was very long, and it was great. We had we went to the preliminary. Miss Alaska won the social impact on stage question, and Miss Alaska won talent. Miss New York won talent. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. So, that was our day. We had a great time. The after parties are always fun. We got to see some Miss Americas and former Miss Americas, and just see old friends from all the different states. So we are looking forward to day 2. Mallory has her social impact and on-stage question tonight. She looked great. She has her evening gown, her talent costume was white. It really showed up well on the stage. I think if anybody was watching on the live feed, I understand it was delayed, so it didn't sound as good as she really did sound. From what I understand, people are telling me that her music was delayed on the feed. So, but she did absolutely the best. I mean, you couldn't ask for any more from her.
Oh, love
So
it.
she's having a great time. There is a little tinker in the pageant. Miss Maine had to withdraw from the pageant because she tested positive for COVID.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
horrible. Oh, I hate to hear that.
Yeah. She's been. I mean, we're all just real sad for her because it was 7. Kind of like Mallory. She's been working toward this goal for 7 years, and then to have it, taken away. So the girls are being very, very cautious. They're all last night for visitation. The girls were required to keep their masks on. So they're being very careful about that. And so we'll see what happens. Hopefully it won't spread to anyone else. But that was the news yesterday. It was, poor Miss Maine. We just all felt for her.
Yeah,
We know
that
how
just
hard
breaks
she's
your
worked.
heart. I mean,
It
obviously, at the end of the day, Susan, and you know this. I mean, it's a competition, and everybody
Right.
wants their girl, their state to win, but
Mhm.
you do want everybody to be able to compete. You just
Right.
do, and especially these young women who have spent the last some of them 10, 15 years
Uh-huh.
in the pageant. This is the ultimate, and especially, and I love listening to our Miss Texas Mallory Fuller talk about this competition. It's the 100th Miss America. There's
Correct.
never, I mean, this is the century mark. There's never going to be another 100th anniversary of Miss America. So this was really a special year to be involved. Win, lose, or draw, this is a very special year to be involved.
Exactly. And I want to tell you about one of the other girls that Miss Colorado, Mara Spence Carroll. She is actually a Texas girl,
Yes.
but she is representing Miss Colorado, and she's in the military. She is an actual active duty Army, and so they have given her time off to be able to compete and be Miss Colorado. But she did very well last night too. So we really have 2 Texas girls here competing. So it should be very interesting tonight with the social impact.
I love it.
On stage question from Mallory, and then also we'll see the other talent as well. And this will be the last night of prelims, and then we wait for the finals on Thursday.
Can't wait. I just very much looking forward.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will, and of course, I'll be texting you
Yes,
like
I can't wait
crazy.
either.
We're grabbing my mom and bringing her over. I've got a Christmas party that I've got to make an appearance at, but I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go and say hi to everybody because I do not want to miss. And what time? How can people see the competition on Thursday? Because I don't want to miss it. I don't want to be late. And then I think it's through Peacock, but I want to double check with you. And then what time?
Yes.
Texas time does that start?
Texas I believe it'll be 7 p.m.
Okay.
It's 8 o'clock here. So I think you can, yes, it's live streaming on Peacock. And, yeah, you can go to I believe it's the missamerica.org, and that should give you the information on how to stream the competition.
Excellent.
And they can actually stream it tonight as well if they would like.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm so excited for the competition, and
Are you
just
there, Kathy?
yes, I'm here. I think we've still got a little bit of a delay. We'll work on a better connection for Wednesday.
We are about to go to rehearsal.
Well, y'all have fun. Please tell Miss Texas we said hello, and we wish her all the best.
We're about to go to the rehearsal to watch the talent.
All right. Thank you so much. Susan Shuler live from the Miss America competition.
Look on my Facebook page if you want to see pictures from
last
night, and we'll post some more for tonight.
Oh, can't wait. Thanks. We love you. Take care. Tell Miss Texas we love her. Bye-bye. All right, very exciting. Yeah, we've had a little bit of an issue with the connectivity there. We'll work on that. We might see if we have a different. Maybe either she might need to go to a different spot in the hotel. Do you think, Brett? I'll let Brett be my expert on how to get a better connectivity for Wednesday. I don't know. JP was having trouble. Everybody in his house is sick today. So was he able to hop on yet, Brett? Have you seen JP? Okay, then I get to give the Cowboys report. Which, so here's the crazy thing. So, well, first of all, for Miss. Oh, JP is on now? Okay, JP's on now, but while we're getting his, I think he's live. Again, I believe I know Peacock is where they're going to be broadcasting.
Can you hear me?
Hey, I can. I'm giving everybody just a real quick update on where we're going to have Miss Texas, where they can catch Miss Texas on Thursday. So Peacock, which is a streaming service, we're already that's one of the 8 streaming services I already pay for. So Peacock, and that's going to be at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we'll double check on all of that. But if you want to catch Mallory Fuller, our Miss Texas, in the 100th Miss America competition, then Thursday on Peacock, and we're very excited about it. So there was a Cowboy game yesterday, JP, and what?
Hello.
Can he hear me? I don't know if he can hear me. JP, do you have your audio on? I don't know if he can hear me. Did we lose him? We're trying to talk a little Dallas Cowboys. Did anybody watch the game yesterday? That was absolutely one game the first half and another game the second half. It was insane. Let's see. Is he in? I can hear him. Can you hear me, JP? I don't know that he can hear me. Oh, no. We're having all kinds of fun technology issues today. Well, let's just say this before JP gets on, and I know he's going to say the same exact thing I'm saying. And some folks this morning were busting chops on some not so loving of fans of the Cowboys. Let's just say that they were busting chops this morning, and I said, hey, you know what? I will take an ugly win, which that was an ugly win. That was it's one of those things. If you watch the first part of the game, and just let me know when we've got JP back up, because I know he's got some specifics he wants to shout out to the Cowboys about. It was one of those things that the first half of the game, I mean, here we are, 27-0. It looked like, oh my goodness, we're just going to run away with this game. I don't think Washington's going to be able to score on us. And then all of a sudden, the second half, it was like we were asleep at the wheel. Dak threw an interception. Now, again, I do want to say that I see Dak, and JP and I have talked about this. I see Dak.
There she is.
Can you hear me now?
Man,
Oh, finally.
T-Mobile out on all the poles, making sure
What
I've got
the
it connected.
what? Well, we were talking about, and I
Man.
said you're probably going to say the same thing I just said, which was okay. It was an ugly win, but it was a win. I don't care. I'm getting over the fact they literally I get like a pit in my stomach when I watch the Cowboys because I'm like, okay, what's going to go wrong? And yesterday, for some reason, I thought after the first half nothing was going to go wrong, and then we barely pulled it out in the end.
Well, so every Cowboys win has been ugly.
Yeah.
So let's start off with that. I mean, there's
I said
nothing
you.
pretty about a
I
Cowboys
literally
win.
said JP will say this, and here you go.
Yeah. You know, here's the key, right? The key is they won. Again, I'm going to stand on this. They're going to win out their season. There is no doubt in my mind. Philadelphia will be a challenge, but they will win out their season. The Cowboys, again, I'm going to tell you, it's going to come off the fact that Dak Prescott is maturing into a leader on the field. And
Yes.
they're going to follow him. And so that's the difference maker is leadership right now, not talent. They need their tackles back in a bad way. And Zeke Elliott is going to have to stomach up for 4 quarters. The guy is a paperweight right now rather than giving us a good, solid 4 quarter. We should have been able to ride Zeke the 3rd and 4th quarter into the sunset. And instead, we were at a duel at the OK Corral. And it should have never got that way. But welcome to the Dallas Cowboys.
It was one of those things that it was if you did not watch, if you watched the first half of the game and didn't watch the second half, which that's what I watched the first half of the game. We had some things we were doing yesterday, and then I had a couple of work items to work on. So I was like, okay, I stepped away from the game the 3rd quarter, and all of a sudden the 4th quarter I come back and I'm like, what happened? I mean, it was all of a sudden, we had, Dak threw an interception. I was just like, what? It was one of those crazy things that you would have never believed that the team we saw the first half of the game was the same team that came out of the locker room. So, JP, I don't know, did they get overconfident at halftime and think, oh, we've got this, and just kind of try to skate, or what happened?
Washington made the halftime adjustments.
Yeah, and they did well with them.
Yeah, and your coordinators did for the Dallas Cowboys. And so the Washington Redskins adjusted, watched as much of the game as possible very quickly to get ready for halftime, during halftime, prepped the team. They came out at halftime, and they were ready to play. And the Cowboys did not adjust as the Redskins were adjusting. And so, that was the second half. And again, we've got some injuries out. We need them back. We don't have a lot of depth on the depth chart. But I don't believe that we lose any more games. I really don't. And so,
thoughts on us playing Washington again because we play them again in 2 weeks. Thoughts on how that game looks versus this game? Do you think they step up because they're a little embarrassed that they lost their footing and they've got something to prove?
No, these are professional athletes. I don't know that they get embarrassed. Now, to the Detroit Lions, yeah, that's different. Detroit got smashed this weekend after a big win the weekend before and should have been able to build on that. Instead, they get hammered by 20. No, I think they're professionals. I think they just gear up and get ready. I think you're going to see a very similar game, but I think you're going to see it play out where it's pretty evenly matched throughout the entire game. So I think you're going to be a nail biter all the way to the end of the 4th quarter. And so, but again, I tell you, the Cowboys are going to win out and make the playoffs. Now, the playoffs, everything scratches. If the Cowboys has everybody back healthy and feeling good, they can make a run. If they don't have their tackles on the outside, we're done.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing. So again, and we're getting dangerously close to the playoffs. And you're right. Once you step into playoff season, the slates are clean. Everybody starts all over, and then it's who is the hungriest, who wants that Super Bowl ring, who wants that championship, and I sure hope it's the Cowboys this year. It's been it's been since the 90s. It's been since the 90s. Do you think we've got what it takes to get into the Super Bowl and then win it?
This year, no.
You don't think?
I'll be honest with you.
Oh, come on!
I
Give me a break.
I really don't. And I also don't see Arizona getting into the Super Bowl.
Which a lot of
Arizona's
folks
got
had
the
talked
best.
about those as both, possible contenders, kind of a thing. So why don't you think Arizona has a shot either?
I think the Green Bay Packers are going to ride their way into the NFC
Oh,
Championship.
interesting. Okay, the cheeseheads.
And
Okay,
so, yeah, and then I see Tampa Bay making it. I think it's going to be Tampa Bay, Green Bay, if that's the way that I haven't looked at the structure yet, but I could see Tampa Bay, Green Bay making it into the NFC Championship, and then Kansas City in the Super Bowl again. I could see a Kansas City, Tampa Bay Super Bowl again.
wow. Well, and Michelle is cheering right now for you to say that. And here's the thing, Kansas City is a hungry team this year. They, their wins may not reflect it, but they're a hungry team.
They're playing like they did last year.
Yeah, some teams just look like they're scrapping. They're doing literally whatever it takes, like you said, leaving blood, spit, teeth, tears out on the field because they're so hungry for the win. They're so hungry for that championship kind of a thing.
Well, Kansas City's defense has stepped up, and they're playing very well. They beat a good Las Vegas Raiders team pretty handedly.
Yep.
That was supposed to be a better game, and it was not. But again, this is what Kansas City did last year. Tampa Bay, they're hitting on all cylinders right now, and they look way good. And so I'm telling you, I really could see a Kansas City and Tampa Bay Buccaneers rematch in the Super Bowl. I think Green Bay will be the hairpin in that deal.
Gotcha. Well, it's been interesting. So, so right now, do you think the stronger teams? You think Kansas steps up to the plate? You think Tampa steps up to the plate again? You think Green Bay continues to excel? Are those kind of the top three teams you're looking at right now as possible Super Bowl champions?
Yeah, those are my top three.
Okay.
I think that in a second tier, I think New England is coming on. But I don't think New England has the firepower that they need.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to watch Kansas City closely because it's like last year. I think they were pretty middle of the road at about 10 games, and then all of a sudden they just hit a second gear, and that's what they've done this year. And they're just finding ways to win football games. And you've got a very seasoned football team when it comes to playoffs. And you got a great coach in Andy Reid, and he surrounded himself with great coordinators. So, I think that Kansas City has a real good shot. It's going to take, and Kathy, you've heard me say this a million times, it's going to take KC's defense to continue to step up to win championships, and that's what they're doing. Their defense has almost as many points as their offense going into the Las Vegas Raiders football game.
Yeah,
so
and
defense wins games,
and it does, and boy howdy, and I do have to give the Dallas Cowboys. We have got some superb, and you and I were talking about this yesterday, before you went to eat barbecue. And by the way, how was barbecue?
Whoa, way, baby.
Yeah, because you were at Hutchinson's
man.
Barbecue. Gosh, that's some good barbecue. That just made me want barbecue so badly last night. But we had already ordered Jersey Mike's. But yeah, so you and I were talking about we have some superb players, defensive players on the Dallas Cowboys. And at the end of the day, you're right. You need a combination. You've got to have a good defense. If you don't have a good defense, you're done. You're just a very you're two-dimensional instead of a three-dimensional team. But I see our coach, and like I said, I agree with you. I really, and I've been a big Dak Prescott fan since before he became a Dallas Cowboy. But I have seen him just even in the last few weeks start to mature into that leader that we need. I look at how Troy Aikman, how the players reacted to him on the sidelines, even when he was not on the field. They performed for him because he was a natural leader. And I agree with you. I see Dak maturing and growing into that role now. And I'm very excited to see that because, again, I just really like him.
I watched Dak Prescott's press conferences.
Yes.
Because a press conference will tell you a lot.
Oh, yes.
By the way a player holds, it's like reading a jury pen.
Yep.
You watch how they hold themselves. You watch their expressions. You can't see their feet, but if you can, you watch what they're doing with their feet, with their hands, with their shoulders. Are they tilting their head a certain way? And so I've watched Dak Prescott's press conferences, and the one thing that is starting to really come out is that he's got his shoulders squared off, he's got his head up, and he's not slumping, he's not looking down, he's not tilting, and he's got this calmness to his voice that is so reminiscent of Troy Aikman. And I'm not saying he's Troy Aikman yet, but he sure does have a lot of leadership style like Troy Aikman. And I'm telling you, I think he's going to be a ferocious competitor in the next year, in the years to come.
I'm going to agree with you, and it's interesting because I watched his press conference last night. I tuned into one of the channels, sports channels, to catch his press conference because I wanted to see what was his demeanor. Did he come out and was he? How was he? What was his? What kind of a tone did he have? And he very much seemed like a guy who was in it to win it. There was, obviously he, made mention of some of the, hey, there were some mistakes that can't happen. He just sounded like he's found that next level of maturity, which you've got to have to be one of these quarterbacks that ends up being a Super Bowl quarterback, a Tom Brady, a Troy Aikman, those type of individuals.
I do believe that if they will surround him with weapons like they did Troy Aikman, that he will win a Super Bowl here.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
With Tony Romo, I never saw Tony Romo winning a Super Bowl championship.
Yeah.
Was he a good fantasy football quarterback?
Oh.
Yes. Was he a good stats quarterback? Yes.
Oh, Tony Romo has some of the best numbers in the NFL. I mean, and you look at the numbers, but it didn't translate to any type of a Super Bowl win. So then again, what was the difference? Well, like you just mentioned, part of it's if you've got that core team and that group of leaders around you. I mean, my goodness, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irving. I mean, you just, it just didn't get better than that.
Well, the big one was Jay Novacek.
Oh, love Jay Novacek. Love him. Another phenomenal leader in and of himself as well.
Yeah, to me, the winning formula for an offense is a good running back, good quarterback, good wide receiver, but a great tight end.
Yep.
And Jay Novacek was quietly a great tight end. And it was a huge difference maker because he can't cover everybody.
Yep.
And so Jay Novacek made a huge difference. He had the University of Wyoming. Great guy. And here's the thing, right? Don't get me wrong. Tony Romo is a great guy. They say he's super nice. I've got a friend of mine that's best friends with his wife and super close with him and just says he's a super nice guy. But here's the thing. When Tony Romo was at the press conference podium, all I could think of was Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, this dude is Jar Jar Binks.
You used to say that on the radio. I know. You used to say that on the radio.
His head's on a swivel. I mean, just a happy-go-lucky, nice guy, which is great. But I needed that stoic, eyebrow-piercing, no smile on his face, Troy Aikman. That's what I needed.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott's becoming that.
Yep, and he had that very serious we're in business mode look on his face. Now I'm really funny about, and I didn't like it when Troy Aikman did this, especially Tony Romo did this all the time. Maybe Troy Aikman didn't do this. I'm trying to remember back. I don't like it when they take their ball caps and turn them backwards for a press conference. That makes me crazy. I'm also not a big fan. Now, maybe it was because it was cold, and if that's the case, I get it. I'm not a big fan of the stocking cap. I like a little bit more of a professional look during the press conference. And, Dak had on that stocking cap. Now, that may have been because it was super cold there versus, 80 degrees in Texas. But yeah, it used to drive me crazy whenever Tony Romo, and again, love Tony Romo, but he always had that ball cap turned backwards. And I just think if you're over the age of 10 or 12, that's just not a look. I don't know.
Again, Jar Jar Binks. Tony Romo was Jar Jar Binks.
Oh,
I don't
no.
remember ever seeing Troy Aikman with his hat backwards. I may have seen it one time.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it
on the
was. Maybe I
sideline.
may be mistaken on that. Yeah, he always looked put
Oh, it was
together.
Tony Romo.
Yeah, it was Tony Romo that always
I
had that
remember
ball
I think
cap turned back around.
Yeah, I think Aikman was on the sidelines. We were winning huge. I can't remember. I think it was Jason Garrett in the game, and Troy may have had his hat turned backwards once.
Yeah.
From the sidelines, that's what the guys. I'm actually cool with
But
that.
a press conference,
I'm not.
press conference is a different story. Now I am cracking up, and I know we're running out of time, but
And I don't remember him.
huh? Do we lose him?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay, so I've got to mention because you're talking Jar Jar Binks, and so of course ADD, adult ADD, and a squirrel. I've just seen a squirrel in studio. So the book of Boba Fett is coming out on Disney. So you know that's going to be streaming next. Are you going to be all over that show?
Oh, you know it, because I think that's going to be an interesting twist on Boba Fett. I don't think they're going to make him out to be a villain.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. So he's not going to be the bad guy in this.
Unsung hero. I don't think so. I think what you're going to find out is that Boba Fett really isn't the bad guy. What he's doing is trying to undo bad things, and he's getting labeled the bad guy.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I can't wait to see where they go with it. And they haven't even said the date, unless they've said it somewhere else. But they always do the commercial, and then they say will be streaming soon, and I'm like, what date? So I can put it on my calendar. And then JP, you'll get a kick out of this.
So what?
Yeah, what? Michelle Butler says, she's like, wait a second, I wear my ball cap backwards. Okay, you're a cute woman, you're a cute lady, so you can get away with that. You're not an NFL quarterback. For some reason, it makes me crazy on older guys. I don't know, unless you're being goofy and you've had a few beers at the lake or something. But Michelle, you can get away. You're cute. You can get away with wearing your ball cap backwards. Don't you agree with me, JP, on that? She's cute as all get out. She can get away with it.
Well, I'm going to call Michelle out a little bit. I don't think she wears her hat backwards when she's in the greeting line when she's representing a country western star.
Probably not.
I bet she doesn't wear her hat backwards. Probably not.
Probably
That's what
not.
we're talking about. Yeah, Michelle wears her hat backwards. She's got those blue eyes a fluttering, and man, she's hot. It's like woohoo.
She's a good-looking girl. She can get away with it.
Yeah, but just real quick. Let's go back to the KC Vegas game.
Yeah.
Vegas gave the Cowboys everything they could handle, and yet KC made them look like they were children.
They really
and
did.
Again, I think that Kansas City is really hitting a mark. There's a lot of parity in the NFL right now. When you look at all the teams that are vying for playoff spots, man, oh man, their records are real middle of the road. Nothing fancy this year. And so I'm thinking that there's just a lot of parity in the NFL. Arizona, who's got the best record in the NFL, is not going to get out of the second round of the playoffs. They're going to get beat by whoever.
Yeah.
They just don't have the background, the knowledge, and the experience.
You think even if they come hungry?
Doesn't matter. I think that they will end up playing a team that's got a lot more experience and will come in and beat them. It just seems to happen that way. Next year, do I see them making a run? I do. But again, I'm telling you, I think that another big game yesterday that was fun to watch were the Browns and the Ravens. I don't know if you got to see that game or not.
No,
but there was a minute 14 seconds left on the game, and all of us and the Ravens are down by 2 scores, and all of a sudden the Ravens are down by 3. The Ravens are able to get into the end zone pretty darn quick, and there's a fumble and a Raven recovery with 50 seconds left. And the Ravens have the ball and could drive, and the Browns defense shut them down finally. But what a game that was.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch. And so some fun games yesterday. No big surprises yesterday. Jets go down in flames. The Saints continue their march. But by the way,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the Saints
Oh.
go marching in.
Oh, that was
Their march.
good. I was a little slow to pick that one up.
Thank
But
you. Thank you.
I will give you a
Thank
thumbs
you.
up for
Thumbs
that.
up. Thank you. And then, yeah, and again, no big surprises yesterday. Titans go on to win. Big game last night between the Packers and the Bears. Bears look good. Let's see. What else? Tonight's game should be a good game. Arizona should tell us a lot tonight. So everybody tune into Monday Night Football.
There you go. Good times. All right. And then tune back in to JP, Kathy, and the crew on Wednesday. We'll have another update from Susan Shuler at the Miss America 100th annual competition. And then, of course, Friday we'll be able to report on who has won the Miss America competition. So we're all hoping and praying for Miss Texas, our own Mallory Fuller, who is just doing a superb job of representing Texas. So proud of her, aren't you, JP?
I am. She looked beautiful in her evening gown last night. She chose a very nice, very elegant, very Jackie Kennedy Onassis type evening gown.
Yeah, just very classy and very regal. Yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful, talented girl with a heart of gold, and we're just very proud of her.
Absolutely. Go Mallory.
All right. And JP, are you off to tribunals?
I am. I'm almost there. Today was a late day. Everybody's sniveling and blowing snot.
Good times. Good times.
Yeah, the morning was fun.
Okay.
I didn't know that a baby could blow snot and a turd at the same time.
Oh, yeah, you find all kinds of things with a baby, yeah. You're like, how does something come out of every orifice at the same time? You know, just how does this happen? All right, love you, my friend.
We had to do was have the hose going.
All right, love to the crew. Stay tuned for Heart and Soul of Texas Women from 10 to 11 live today, and we'll see you then, and have a blessed day. Getting ready for a little 2-week vacation couple of weeks off for the Christmas holidays with JP, Kathy, and the crew, and then we'll be coming back to you in 2022 with a new format. We've got a couple of our shows that will be broadcasting from new studios, so just some fun stuff going on for 2022. We love y'all. We'll see you soon. Be safe.